Hello, welcome to, I guess, officially episode 1 of the Art of Love podcast. So I thought about reviewing a post that I put out recently on my newsletter about weaponized incompetence. So I don't know if you heard about that term, but it's basically when somebody pretends to be unable to perform a task in order to avoid doing it within a relationship, and in a way is manipulating their partner into not asking them to help them again. And obviously either the man or the woman, or the woman or the woman, whatever type of relationship that you're in, can do that in a relationship. But a lot of times it seems like in heterosexual couple, it's the man that tends to do that for household chores and stuff like that. So the reason why that came to my mind and what I wrote a little post about it in my newsletter was that I was scrolling through Instagram, and I stopped when I saw this lady named Rafi, which is the wife of Jay Shetty, who's like a well-known figure in personal development, stuff like that online. And she was showing him how to make guacamole. So it's a simple, couple minutes type of video. I don't know if it's made for comedy, if they're acting or whatever. This in no way is to criticize what they're doing, because I don't know them and I don't know their circumstances. It's really just like a 1 or 2 minute video that I saw. But I thought it was interesting that it illustrated for me what weaponized incompetence is, and it made me think about the consequences of that. Because as I was watching the video, I felt myself being irritated at his behavior throughout the sequence. And the first word that came to mind when I was looking at that was weaponized incompetence, because there was a lot of little things that he was doing, and I was like, really? For example, so basically she just asked him to, she just tell him that she's going to show him how to do guacamole, which is a very easy thing to do. If you don't know what guacamole is, it's basically mashed avocado with a couple lemon juice and spices. It's nothing complicated. Like a 12-year-old or a 6-year-old can do that. But anyway, so she was going to show him how to do it. So they have like a whole prep kitchen and stuff like that, because she does like food videos on her Instagram and stuff like that. So, and he just starts by saying, I don't know how to cut the avocado. And he cut it like I've never seen somebody cut an avocado like this. I'm like, okay. And she was kind of like, all right, I'm not going, in her body expression, I'm just not going to say anything, and I'm just going to let him do it. So he would cut it in the most weird way, and then ask her if that's the way that he's supposed to do it, and then do the weirdest thing, by starting to pulling it with his hands and getting the avocado all over his hands, and saying things like, I have no idea, I don't know. And then she kind of walked him through how to cut an avocado, walked him through how to cut it, and then he cuts it in whatever type of way, and then he starts smashing it with his fingers, and there's a bunch of tools around, and she kind of gives him a look okay, but still patiently trying to not do it for him and trying to teach him, because that was the whole point. And then she's like, okay, we're going to now squeeze the lime. I'm going to squeeze the lime for you. So she just squeezed the lime inside the avocado, and then he complains oh my gosh, you squeezed it on me, it's my favorite shirt. So I'm like, is this guy a child? And then he says that the kitchen is stressful, and he's not sure that he knows how to do it. And basically he kind of does the whole thing, everything's in there, and just mix it together, and then it's over. And she's like, okay, now now you know how to do guacamole. So the next time that I'm preparing dinner, I can ask you to just do a guacamole for dinner. You can do it for me. He's like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I'll probably just Uber it. And her face sank. And I was looking at this whole interaction. It's not a very long interaction, but I tend to pick up a lot of things when I watch these things, only for educational purposes, to kind of understand the dynamics of relationship a little bit more. Like, I know that when I watched this, I felt a little bit, not majorly, but I felt a little bit irritated. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this guy was a monk, right? So I'm assuming that they had to learn to do certain things, not just meditating, but, cooking and cleaning and all these type of things. And you're going to tell me that you don't know. Not only you don't know how to make it, but when she's showing it to you, you're doing the things that a 6-year-old would not do, as far as I'm concerned. But again, that's just my opinion. So, and I was looking at this, and that's why the word to my mind came like it was weaponized incompetence. I'm not saying that's what it is, but in that scenario, for teaching purposes, if somebody would do something like that, would probably think that because of the fact that they have so much more, it's like a public figure type of thing, they have other things to do, might think that this is a little bit beneath them or not their role. So in order for the partner not to ask them to do that again, you do it in the worst possible way so they get irritated, and then you don't have to do it again. The problem with this type of thing is that this is the type of thing that, as far as I'm concerned, can slowly break down a relationship, because now she's just asking for a little something, maybe to take the load off, maybe just to be able to have some sort of like connection. She obviously loves food. She wants to potentially, I'm just speculating, potentially wants to, share that with her partner, and to have the opportunity to spend some time together doing something that she loved, but actually creating something together. Because I feel like for a couple to have a healthy relationship, they need to be able to do these little things. It's like all the little things that make the relationship more solid, not necessarily like the grand gestures, like of, I don't know, like going to the restaurant or being flown over, like the daily small joys of life that you can share with a partner, I believe are what solidifies a relationship. So that for him was an opportunity to be able to create a bond. Because if I follow them a little bit, and I know that they travel a lot, and they're not with each other like 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, like all year type of thing. They spend a lot of time not together doing their business. So this is a way for them to connect in a very mundane type of way that he essentially rejected. So when he does something like that, first of all, he's not acknowledging the fact that this would bring her joy. That simple thing, that just take 15 minutes out of your day to actually just do something simple, that yes, somebody else could do it, yes, you can Uber it, but you're not spending that time with her, and you're not creating something with her and for her to make her happy and to solidify the relationship type of thing. So as far as the health of the relationship, that's a bit of a fail. Another thing too that I saw, for her to have to like tell him what to do, like I was looking at the clip, and she was starting to take on the role of a mom, and he was starting to take on the role of a child, like a child that's not following what mom is telling to do. So like he's essentially kind of forcing her in a way to take the mom role, and he takes a child role. And for a lot of women, like this is a bit of an issue, because then if she takes on the mom role too often, it's very possible that that's going to break out the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine energy, between the two of them, and the polarity. That's the word that I was searching for. And it's going to become unattractive. And the more he does that, the more unattractive he's going to become to her, because she takes on the role of the mom as opposed to the role of the wife, the partner, the opposite, right? So all these little things, like, and if you think about this idea of like the masculine feminine energy, for those who are really into that, like the masculine that's kind of there to support and protect the feminine energy is not there anymore. Like she's almost taking on a bit of that masculine role, because she's the one that's like guiding and teaching and directing and doing, like she's basic, and like he just kind of stays there and waits for her to kind of like tell him what to do next. That can be not very good in the health of a the health of a healthy dynamic relationship, and it could build resentment in the long term, depending on the woman's personality. And it's not just her, it's just I'm thinking in general. That could create, either force her to become more of a motherly figure-ish type of, in these type of thing, frustrated. It could be that she becomes resentful and decides, like, you know what, I'm just not going to ask him for anything, and cut that potential of connection off. And then they become more and more distant, and she kind of like does her own thing on her side, and he thinks that he avoided doing a domestic job, but what he basically avoided was like to be able to build a stronger bond with his wife, and she can essentially look for that somewhere else. Like, I don't know if there's a assistant chef that's there to be able to help her find new recipes and stuff like that. She'll have more fun with that, and somebody who teaches her new tricks, or who's taking the time to be able to try to learn different cuisine technique and stuff like that. Like, so then she's building that rapport, that not, I guess, intimacy in a way, but with somebody else, and he's out of the picture type of thing, and that creates more and more distance. So resentment, the change of polarity, like if every time she asks him to do something simple, he uses that, like, I don't feel like doing it, so I'm just going to act like a baby, essentially, that I don't know how to do it, and I much rather like somebody else do it for me. She eventually might find him less and less attractive, and again, that could drive a bridge between the two, and then the next thing you know, they're more roommates than partners, and that happens a lot in relationship, and it happens to me, happened to me in the past. So that's one thing. There is, I believe, a healthier way to kind of have that dynamic of like supporting incompetence in a way. Like, we're not all born knowing how to do everything perfectly, which is fine, but like, say for example, and I was thinking about that too, like, say for example that he knew that he would have to record this video of learning how to do guacamole. It doesn't take that much time to do a quick research on Google or on YouTube, even better, to see like what it is, what does it involve, like watch a short video. Like, now we can learn pretty much everything on YouTube. Take 15 minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to cut an avocado, like all these type of things. So then you come, and you might not do the best job because it's your first time doing it, but you actually cared enough to go and take a look and understand what you're getting into, as opposed to like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't feel like doing it, it's better that you do it type of thing. So there's a better way to do that, because I find that had he done something like that, even not knowing, but at least cared enough to go and do a quick little research, 15 minutes, no more than that, then I feel like the dynamic would have been better, because it would have shown this idea of like, this is important to you, my partner. I care about you. I care about what you care about, because I care about you. So I'm going to take the extra 15 minutes. You're worth that, so that you can still show me, but I'm not going to be completely oblivious. And the thing is, even if he had not done the research before, like, there's no need to complain. Like, he could have done something like, okay, like, can you just show me how to do it, and then I'm going to copy what you're doing so that I can do a good job, and like really want to learn. So in my mind, like, when I was looking at this, it's like, he doesn't want to learn how to do guacamole. He doesn't care about doing that for her when she prepares dinner type of thing. He's not interested in that at all. So that's one of the things that came to mind. And again, like, I tend to look at these things and try to learn basically what are the lessons, what can we learn from this in order to make sure that it doesn't affect like our relationship in the future type of thing. So that's basically the way that I learn about relationship and things like that. So yeah, that was this little thing. So I wrote the last newsletter. I kind of wrote an entire article about it, but I figured I would do like an audio version of it. It's not perfect, but again, like I said, these are not meant yet to be like professional podcasts, but more like voice notes of thoughts that I'd like to share with people that are basically interested in something similar, as if, you know, a friend would leave you a voice note podcast type of thing. And you can listen to it whenever you feel like it. So I'd love to know what you think about that. What is like, do you know anything about weaponized incompetence? Have you experienced it before? Is there something that I missed when it comes to that? Because I find that it could be thought as being biased, because a lot of the time it's the at least what I've seen, a lot of the weaponized incompetence example that I see online are mostly men doing that to women and not the opposite. I'm sure there's an opposite, like the other version. I would have to think, because most of the time what I've seen is what I would call more supportive incompetence, where they were all jokes, but they were jokes where these women were like, they were, for example, in the kitchen, and they had to lift something heavy, and they start lifting it and moving it to the other side. Then they're like, oh no, wait a minute, they put it back, and then they call their partner to be able to lift it for them or pick it up for them or something like that. And you can see that the partner was happy to be able to have done something. So obviously the women could do it themselves, but they don't have to, especially if the partner is there. So I'm not sure that's really weaponizing, and I wouldn't see that as weaponizing incompetence. I would see that more as supportive incompetence, like to not. The thing is, a lot of women have been taught in, you know, modern society to be able to do everything on their own, and that they don't need a man and stuff like that, which is I think toxic in a way. It's not healthy. Of course, it's good to be able to do a lot of things on your own, but you don't have to. If there's somebody that's like you, you need to be able to receive help when it's available to you, and when it's not, you know, you have to do what you have to do. But it takes a load off, and it also changes your energy and attitude, right? So you're not so rough all the time. You can kind of relax into your feminine when the man is there. So I thought those were interesting points to look into and to reflect on. And yeah, if you have any opinion or insight or feedback or more notes that I've missed, feel free to add your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye.